Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie, I am the Introverted Reader, and today's video we are wrapping up the month of November, and we read 6 books in the month of November, which is the standard for me, but it actually started off pretty slow this month and I was a bit anxious as to how many I was going to get read, but I read 6, which is great, which is wonderful, so cheers to that. I hope you've hydrated today. If you have yet to hydrate, please do. Anyway, so yeah, let's just talk about these books, shall we? So the first book that I read was A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber, my most anticipated release of 2023. This series, I can't talk about this book specifically, but the series as a whole is about our main girl, Evangeline Fox. And she has found out, she's very unhappy, she's very distraught because she's just found out that the supposed love of her life is going to be getting married to somebody else. So she makes a deal with the Prince of Hearts. She's like, you need to stop this wedding so that me and my beloved can be together. And the Prince of Hearts, or Jax as he's called, is basically like, okay, I'll help you, but then you owe me 3 kisses. I tell you when to give, where to give, and who to give. We got it. And without thinking, she makes a deal with him. And chaos ensues from there. It is so addicting. I don't know what is lined within these pages, but I could not stop. Like the first 2, I binged those. And the way I flew through this, like, can we talk about this cover as well for a second? The covers for these are stunning. And I hear there's like bonus epilogues in some of these. Hold on. I mean, there is an epilogue at the end of this, and really it just says at the end, other stories were brewing in the magnificent north. I don't know if anybody else's epilogue was different. If yours was, please tell me, because there might have been like special editions where there was like different ones. I'm not sure, but 5 out of 5 stars. I love this so much. One of my favorite trilogies ever. I'm gonna have to rearrange this shelf behind me so I can put this on there, but we'll make it work. I always do. And yes, I'll talk about what I read on my Kindle. So after I read Curse for True Love, I finished the Daughter of No World series by Carissa Broadbent. Finally read the 3rd book, Mother of Death and Dawn, which I love this series as well. Like, it was a really fun little palate cleanser in between reading books. Like, I would describe this series, it's a fantasy series and it has a romantic subplot. Like, it's sort of borderlining on the romantasy kind of bit, because it's about because our main character, Tisana, was a slave for 8 years, and she finally she gets an opportunity to escape. And once she does, she wants to find this organization called the Order, because they have like certain magical abilities that she wants to learn in order to go back to learn it and to go back to her homeland and free her best friend and all the other slaves. And again, so addicting. It's so fast paced, and honestly, Carissa Broadbent and Stephanie Garber, auto-buy authors at this point. Like, I'm loving them. So I was having a pretty decent reading month thus far, and for Mother of Death and Dawn, technically I would have given it like maybe a 4.5. I think maybe the 2nd book in this series might be my favorite, but all in all, fantastic series. I'm really glad that I read it. And then the audiobook that I listened to, well, one of the audiobooks that I listened to, Sun and the Star by Rick Riordan and Marcus Shiro. This was everything I wanted and more. This was so good. Like, I said this in my last video, but I have read a Percy Jackson book or like a Camp Half-Blood book every month of this year. And it only made sense that I read this, and then I'm going to be concluding with Chalice of the Gods, which is over there. And this is a story about Nico D'Angelo and Will Solace, who I would ride at dawn for these 2. I love them so much. So basically they have to go down into Tartarus to help someone. I can't really go into much detail because you really need to have read all the Heroes of Olympus mostly, if you really want to, like, well, no, the first series as well. You really need to have read all of Percy's journey anyway. Like, you don't, I mean, would you have to have read Apollo? Maybe, because Apollo is Will Solis's godly father, so, and stuff that happens in Trials of Apollo is mentioned, but that's not really as important as to have read like Heroes of Olympus or like Percy's other books. But anyway, this was amazing. I loved it. The audiobook was great. I would fight for Nico D'Angelo and Will Solis, and I would genuinely read more. I would genuinely read an entire series about Will and Nico going on adventures. Like, I need Rick Riordan and Marcus Shiro to team up again, and please give us more. Just please. And anyway, and then Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. I DNF this. I don't even know how, I can't even remember how far in I got. But this is supposedly a retelling of Princess Ariadne, and she was the princess of Crete. And yeah, she lives there with her younger sister, her mom, and her father is Minos, I believe. Yeah. Her younger sister is called Phaedra, and there is a minotaur living in a labyrinth underneath the palace, because the minotaur is her brother, because her mummy was tricked by one of the gods and did the nasty with the bull, and out popped the minotaur. And if I'm being honest, I find this incredibly boring. I did not enjoy this. I didn't enjoy my time reading it, so I DNF'd it. And if anybody, if any is are watching this right now thinking, how dare you? That's just my opinion, Mary. All right, I was bored, so I DNF'd it, and that's that. Although I thought that the Minotaur would have been included more. He was just kind of like this presence in the background. Theseus, another hero from Greek history, is in this, but he is a dirty dog. We don't talk about him. And yeah, it was boring. It dragged. I felt like I was jumping all over the place. I was confusion. And you know me. If I start getting confused, I don't want to know. No, I think we're done. Okay, so I have 3 more books to talk to you about. So, Diary of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This saved November for me, because after reading Ariadne, I was like, girl, what are we gonna do? So I made this the Introverted Reader Book Club pick instead, and read it, and I fell in love, and I have a review for it on my channel if you want to go and watch it. Like, it's literally, that video is literally just me reading out random quotes from this book, because the writing in this book is one of the most beautiful writing I've read in so long. I didn't tab it, but I highlighted a bunch of stuff, and I'm just looking at all the, I just, like, there were moments when you didn't even look like yourself. There was a darkness in your eyes and a tightness to your mouth I hadn't noticed before, or perhaps didn't want to. Okay, so it's about Dracula and his wives, and we follow the perspective of his first wife, Constanta, and just her years of living with him, traveling with him everywhere, and what a horrible abusive monster he is. And then her and the other 2 partners that he obtains decide to band together and end him for good, and it's wonderful and it's amazing. But yeah, go watch my review to get a more detailed explanation. But this book, one of those beautifully written books I've ever read in my life. Like, I think I might have to do a video about books that I just adore the writing for, and just like felt like books that I felt like changed me as a person because the writing was so good. But anyway, so our next book, Heart of the Sun Warrior by Sulin Tan. I finally got to it. I'm so happy. Look at all these tabs. Are you kidding? Look at all these tabs. Now, a lot of people will say that this book didn't need to exist. And to you, I'm going to have to disagree. And I will also have to point out that not every book needs to exist. Like, all books exist because people wanted to write them, not because they have to exist. But that's a whole other tangent. I don't want to send anybody spiraling. But I would wholeheartedly disagree with you that this book does, in fact, deserve to exist, because even though you could just end Daughter of the Moon Goddess the way it ended and just be done, but if you are a C-drama fan, if you are a costume C-drama fan, you know, that's along the lines of this, you will understand that one whole thing, like, your entire journey could have like maybe 2 or 3 plots going on at the same time. Do you know what I mean? There's your main plot, and then there would be like there would be like different little arcs happening along the way as we get closer and closer to like the focal point of our story, which would be like the finale and all that. So I genuinely enjoyed my time reading this. Did I enjoy it as much as Daughter of the Moon Goddess? Probably not. I didn't really appreciate the ending of this too much. Like, I gave it a 4 as opposed to Daughter of the Moon Goddess getting 5. But I still thoroughly enjoyed my time reading this. I definitely was getting the like costume fantasy C-drama feelings that made me fall in love with the story in the first place. So excuse me. So yeah, hold on. Talking too much. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed my time reading this. I'm so happy I finally got to it. Again, the writing in here, I adore the writing in here so much. It's beautiful. Look at it. It's beautiful. But yeah, 4 stars. I gave that 4 stars. And then the last book that I want to talk to you about is Hex You by PC and Kristen Cass. This is the 3rd book in their Sisters of Salem trilogy, which is basically a trilogy about it's basically set in this small town called Goodville, and it's sort of shaped in such a way that there's different gateways at different points of the town, which are like guarded by trees. Like there's a Japanese tree, a Hindu style tree, Greek, and what's the other one? Egyptian. And basically these trees guard the entrances of various underworlds. Like the town is at like the focal point where all these sort of meet. And our 2 main girls, twins, Hunter and Mercy, and their mom, Abigail, they are witches and are basically tasked with keeping these doorways shut and keeping what is on the other side on the other side. And it's super fun if you enjoy small town stuff, if you enjoy books about witchcraft, if you enjoy books about like sisterhood and goddess magic and beautiful gorgeous cats and other various animals and such, and just talk like friendship and, you know, not judging someone simply for how they live and all this. And it tackles a lot of bigotry, this series, because obviously our girls practice witchcraft, and a lot of the time their town is like in like the deep south, and there's, you know, a lot of Christian people. I say that term very, very loosely. There's just a bunch of bigots, really, that, you know, just feel the need sometimes. And it really rubbed me the wrong way when I was reading it, because it's just like, why are you the way that you are? But listen, if anything I've said has inspired you to read the Sisters of Salem series, like, go read Spells Trouble and come back to me and let me know if you liked it. So, yeah, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that is all 6 books that I wanted to talk to you about today. So yeah, well, apart from Ariadne, we don't talk about her. everything here I actually read. Ariadne I didn't read. But yeah, let me know how you did in the month of November. Did you discover any new favorites? Did you finally complete that series that you've been stuck on for 2 years? Let me know. So yeah, I hope you're having all words. I hope you were all having a good weekend, and I shall see you for a very special video on Tuesday. So I'll see you then, chums. Bye.